Minister Bheki Cele released the latest quarterly crime statistics on Tuesday, and according to the data, there were almost 6,300 more cases of contact crimes in the country. Cele and police management appeared in Parliament yesterday to account, and to get a reaction, we have the DA's Andrew Whitfield. He is the Shadow Minister of Police. Good morning to you, Andrew, and thank you so much for your time. The reaction that we often have as tax-paying, law-abiding citizens is to cower in fear in our homes, and yet do the due diligence by paying your taxes and make sure that you are on the right side of the law. Do you think, like the SAPO union have said, that releasing the crime statistics is essentially a publicity stunt for the minister?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I think that it goes without saying that South Africa can never be a peaceful and prosperous nation until we get crime, and especially violent crime, under control. And the minister appears before the Portfolio Committee and the public and releases crime statistics which paint a bloody picture of violence across our country, which reinforces the fear that South Africans already feel in their own communities and in their own homes, as you've pointed out. We've had over 6,200 murders in the last quarter, which is absolutely horrific. That's 70 murders a day. We've had well over 100,000 contact crimes in total. Crime across almost every category is up. Violent crime in terms of those categories is up. And we have a president who promised when he took over the presidency that he would halve violent crime within 10 years. Well, it's halfway through that period of 10 years, and we've seen crime increase and not decrease. We've had a 20% increase in murder since Minister Cele took over office. So if he's trying to achieve some sort of political points by releasing crime statistics, I'm not sure that it's working, because he's effectively showing South Africans that he's failed at every turn.
And also earlier on with the SAPO union, they were saying that in certain areas there's lack of capacities, especially where it's not well resourced, rural, peri-urban police stations that have to shut down because there's nobody to man it. And secondly, that there is rampant police killing. They themselves are in the firing line. So then who is protecting the society?
Well, we've got a massive problem with the South African police service. It's poor training and inadequate resourcing. In rural communities, we know that police officers lock themselves inside the police stations, whilst our South Africans are cowering in fear in their homes. Police officers are cowering in fear in the police stations that are there to serve the communities. So inadequate resourcing, poor training, generally poor leadership and management. We've got less and less police officers, in spite of what the minister and the president say. They tell us they're recruiting more trainees. These are new people who are wet behind the ears. They don't know how to do the job properly yet. But meanwhile, SAPS is restructuring and losing highly trained, skilled personnel on a monthly basis. So we have a net personnel loss within the South African police service, a declining budget in this current financial year, and an increase in violent crime. And what we've said to the minister in the committee, and the DA has been very, very clear on this, is that SAPS needs to demonstrate that they are actually using the data that they collect through the crime statistics to respond to incidents of crime. It's no use knowing where the crimes take place and then not tailoring your plans and policies and strategies to deal with that crime. So we need data-led interventions in order to bring down the high rate of crime. But we also need to address the causes of crime, which are not always within the purview of the South African police service, such as environmental design, amongst others. Load shedding is a massive contributor to the impunity which criminals feel in our communities to commit crime without consequence and without being identified. So, we have a complex situation.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say that we react in horror every time we hear about a hit. Just the other day, we heard of a dental hygienist at Baragwanath who was on her way to work and was ambushed by two gunmen or assailants for whatever reason. We don't know at this stage. But these occurrences are one too many that just creates further panic in society.
Absolutely. Any one of us can be a victim at any time. And when police officers are attacked, as you pointed out, it doesn't give citizens much confidence that they're going to be able to be protected by those very police officers. Criminals are operating with complete impunity. There's no fear of consequence from the state. Our criminal justice system is simply overloaded, undercapacitated and under-resourced. It's not doing the work fast enough in order to turn the tide on violent crime. And that is why we've said to the minister, he needs to put all of the plans and policies and strategies on the table and pinpoint what is not working. It doesn't help for us to do the same thing over and over while innocent, hardworking South Africans are being murdered in their homes, taken out on the street on the way to work, and nobody can really live without fear in that kind of environment. And the SAPS needs to make sure that their senior management, who are highly paid in this top-heavy policing structure, are actually adding value. And that requires tailoring plans by using data to respond to crime in communities where it is the highest, and making sure that criminals are locked up and that there are consequences for their criminal actions.
You've cited interventions that can bring down the crime statistics. Do you think there's a lack of political will? Because you have engaged with the Minister and members of Parliament in the National Assembly. Surely this is a case of just implementing what's there already and get rid of all the talk.
Well, if we're told that we're implementing what's there already, it's not working. And that's why we say that we need to really look and do a deep dive analysis into the plans and strategies that are clearly not working, and see what needs to be done. One of the critical elements that is missing is proper partnership policing with communities. Community policing forums have, in many cases, become overly politicized structures. They're not necessarily fulfilling all of their responsibilities, but many are extremely capable and functional, but they're not receiving the support from the SAPS. And until we can build a whole of society approach with SAPS at the center to coordinate a community response to crime, by using the data that SAPS collects and sharing that with communities so that we can pinpoint these incidents, we can resolve service delivery issues that are contributing to crime, I'm afraid that we're not going to be able to get on top of this. We cannot leave it to SAPS alone, and we certainly cannot leave it to SAPS while Minister Cele is there. He's been there for 5 years. The crime rate has gone up. Violent crime is through the roof. He has clearly failed and demonstrated that he's not capable to do the job. And South Africans now need to stand up and demand that President Ramaphosa remove Minister Cele, and we have a dramatic overhaul of the South African Police Service, its plans, policies, and strategies.
Shadow Minister, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. We are speaking to the Democratic Alliance Member of Parliament and Shadow Minister of Police, Andrew Whitfield, reacting to the quarterly statistics or crime statistics that were tabled on Tuesday, and of Parliament.